or welcome back. Today, I really want to share with you 3 really small habits that completely changed my life, and that is no exaggeration. What I've learned as I've gone through life a little bit more is that it really is the small things, when repeated, that make a big difference or have a large impact. So I want to share with you these things today because anyone can do them, and I think they will have a very, very similar effect in your life and in your home. Thank you for being here. Let's hop right in. So I used to work as a waitress at a restaurant, and something that they would always tell us when we'd go back into the kitchen through those swinging doors, they would say, full hands in and full hands out. So this is something that I just made a habit of as I worked as a waitress there, is I would carry dirty dishes in, and then I would bring clean dishes or refill salt and pepper shakers out. Anything that needed to go out onto the floor, I would take out. So as I started kind of looking at my home really critically when I was feeling overwhelmed a couple of years ago and hadn't decluttered anything truly, I started remembering this, full hands out, full hands out. And I started wondering if I could apply this to my home. So I did a little experiment. Anytime I walked into a room or an area of my home, I would remove 3 to 5 items from that area and just get it out and put it in a donation pile. And I just did this all day long. If I got into my cupboard, if I got into the toys, the kids' toys, if I got into my closet, if I opened a drawer, the junk drawer, my linens, any area that I got into, I would start pulling a couple of items out. And I kept hearing full hands out, full hands out. And it really did start to make a difference. And it was something really easy because I had already done half of the work by getting into that area. Say I went into the utility drawer to get a pair of scissors, and I grabbed, 5 pieces of trash coming out of the utility drawer. That's what I call the junk drawer. I'm trying to call it that anyway. And it was really easy because I've already gotten into the drawer. I've already done half the work. If you've walked into a room to accomplish a task, you've already done half the work. You are halfway there. Just like at the restaurant, I already had to go back into the kitchen for something, so I might as well have full hands out. So this is a really, really simple thing. It is a shift in your perspective. And you might be thinking, this is way too much work. Like, I do not have time for full hands out. It's just too much to think about. I already have a lot on my plate, and it's just too overwhelming. It really does start with 1 item. If it seems way too much to do 3 to 5 items, do 1. Just say, if I come into the kitchen, I am going to remove 1 item from the kitchen, and just start there. And after it becomes a habit, you can move up to 2 items or 3 items. Something else that makes a huge difference is having a designated area. I mean, this is huge. Have a designated area to put the decluttered items. I think some of that overwhelm comes from, I don't know what to do with this. I don't have time to go put this in a bag, take the bag to my car, or find a box. You're not going to do that in that moment. You're actually going to pre-designate a place for donations. And I like to have 2 when I was decluttering my house. At the very beginning, I would have a declutter hub in the main living part of my house and at the top of the stairs. And what I even recommend doing if your kids are like prone to get into this and start wondering why you're getting rid of it, is just to toss a sheet or a blanket over it. If it looks like laundry, they won't get into it. I've noticed this in my house. If I need to hide anything, I make it look like a basket of laundry, and it is left completely alone. So that's a little hack, but you have to set this up beforehand. Now, if your kids are a little bit older and they can actually help you declutter, show them where these spots are. Say, this is where you put things that you don't want anymore. Go see if you can grab 5 things from your bedroom. So depending on their ages, depending on whether you're worried or not about them getting into the basket, those are a couple thoughts. But just start with 1 item out every time you enter a room or an area. Full hands out. The second small habit that has completely changed my life is the one touch rule. I am such a believer in this. This really stopped the clutter shuffle. And I have been a huge clutter shuffler my whole life. And what a clutter shuffle is you say, oh my gosh, you know, this sweater does not belong on the dining room table. Let me pick it up, and I'm actually just gonna go set it over here on the couch to get it closer to the bedroom, but then it's just moving around your house. You really didn't accomplish anything because you cluttered up the couch. So I used to do this all the time, and I just stopped this habit. I decided that if I touched an item, I would put it away immediately. And this is one that I have not been absolutely perfect at. I haven't been perfect at any of these, but I've tried to make these general rules that I follow. So the one touch rule, meaning the sweater got left on the dining room table, I'm now gonna go hang it up in the coat closet or put it up in my bedroom where it belongs. And again, you might be thinking, I don't have time for that. Like, that is way too much pressure. But you have to realize there's a cost. There is an absolute cost of your mental well-being when you live in a cluttered space. You don't get to leave this stuff out for free. You have to remember this. Clutter costs you. So if you continue to shuffle your clutter, you're not only using up this mental capacity and you're calm, you're sacrificing this calm space, but now you're having to do the work more than once. So you've already had to move it off the dining room table, and now you're gonna put it on the couch, and then eventually you're gonna have to put this away, hopefully. So you have to realize that you're just using more energy when you shuffle your clutter around the house. So when you think of it that way, that it's actually wasting time in the end, that you do actually have time to put it away, which you are going to have to do anyway. The other reason I love the one touch rule is because it forces you to find a home for anything that you want to keep. No longer can you just move these items around your house and let them float around because you don't know where to put it. It forces you to find a home for each item. But it's ultimately just gonna make tidying up easier in the end. And it makes it easier to find items when you're looking for them. It makes it easier for your family to help you because there are designated areas where all of this stuff belongs. I absolutely love this tip from Dana. Her channel is Dana K. White. She said, when you're putting things away or trying to find homes for an item, put them where you would look for them first. It doesn't matter if this location or this end, home for this item makes sense to anybody else. If it is where you would naturally look for it first, that is where it goes. That kind of takes some of the guesswork out of trying to figure out where the homes should be. If you are always tempted to look for batteries in your utility drawer, absolutely this is where the batteries go. It's like where you naturally go to look for them first. So try this out, see if it works. Think, where do I naturally go first? Or what makes the most sense to me? Do not worry about making a Pinterest perfect home or making this look like somebody else's home. Your home needs to function for you. The third little habit that had a huge impact on my life is I stopped shopping without a list of things that I had either needed or had thought over for at least a week or two. So before I decided to go more clutter-free, to live more simply and minimally, I would shop all the time just because I was bored and I love getting out and about. There are so many reasons I love shopping. You get that like little release of endorphins anytime you buy something new. It's exciting, it's fun, it's new, it's fresh, but ultimately it's more for you to deal with. And in the end, it's just more of a burden on you, especially if it's not something that you need or ultimately want. It just becomes clutter in your life that you have to deal with. So I decided I'm not going to buy anything unless it's on a list of things that I know I need or things that I've thought through. And I just started writing everything down. It really forced me to weigh my needs and my wants, and it forced me to take a hard look at the fact that anything I bring into my home is something that I have to be responsible for. So I just stopped shopping for a while. When I did this at first, I just kind of went on a spending freeze. Also, I like to call this a fill your bank account challenge, because that is what happens. You just save money. But I kind of froze and I just started making these lists, and oh my goodness, the difference that made. I found myself crossing things off the list, not because I bought them, but because I realized that I A, either didn't need it, or B, didn't want it. So it completely changed the way that I approached shopping, and it made me really reflect ultimately on the things that I already had. It made me more grateful. It made me use things up, and I have just saved money in the end. So that made an enormous difference. And although it was hard to break that habit, it really wasn't a very difficult thing to accomplish. Also, when I was working to break this habit, especially in the very beginning, I would be really honest with myself about what my trigger areas were in the store. So Target is probably my favorite store ever, and I love the makeup and I love the jewelry. So I would tell myself, you are not allowed to go in these areas. If I needed to order some new makeup, I would get it on Amazon. That way it shipped for free. I didn't have to enter that temptation zone. And now I am perfectly able to go into the makeup area and only buy the things that I am specifically looking for, which I was not able to do before. Same with jewelry. I would just go and look and look and look, and then find a couple things, bring them home, overwhelm my jewelry collection to the point where things were getting broken and lost and not worn. And now I can walk easily into the jewelry section, appreciate how cute everything is, and then leave. But I had to really train myself to do this, and it started with that spending freeze and making those lists. Please subscribe if you like videos on clutter-free living and a simplified home. I make them every single week. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.